We are live on our Facebook pages as well as our YouTube pages, so you can see our beautiful faces. As I mentioned, I'm hanging out with Saviour Gombera, and yeah, he's going to be chatting to us about his app. Saviour, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you doing?
Saviour?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
I am struggling to hear Saviour. Saviour, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know it was very last minute, you coming to join us this morning, but thank you so much for, coming out and coming to speak to us. How was the weekend? Did you enjoy it?
No, the weekend was great. I didn't really do much, but, try to get my platform off the ground, and that's practically been it, but it's been good.
Uh-huh. Tell me something. So you discovered an app, of course, called Quaha. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, very similar, close to your name, but yes.
I love that. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about you before we get into the app itself? Who are you? Where are you from? And, what got you interested in the line of work that you're in?
Yeah, so I was born in Pretoria, but I'm not a
Okay.
Pretoria guy.
Okay.
I grew up in Sun City, in the Northwest
Okay.
Province. Grew up.
Oh.
I know it was quite a childhood, seeing the Valley of Waves and Michael Jackson. So I was just always inspired by the things that were around me from, the days of being an adolescent. And then I moved to Joburg in 1999, and I think that's when reality hit, that you're out of this bubble and you're meeting all these people from different walks of life. And then life moved on from there, and I went to university. Did that, it was an interesting journey. And then, I went into corporate, worked in the poultry industry for quite some time. And within the poultry industry, I was traveling around Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, Botswana, and just engaging with entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Even if people who weren't entrepreneurs, I was engaging with people from all walks of life. And they kept asking me, do you have access to knowledge? Do you have access to training? Do you have access to opportunity? And that's how Quaha sort of came about. It was because I was engaging with people, youth and elderly people from all walks of life, who were always asking for opportunity. And that's when it hit me, like, let me create a platform that actually provides opportunity for other people.
Okay, so I'm struggling a little bit to hear you, and I'm just trying to quickly can you hear me perfectly?
You're crystal clear.
Crystal clear. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to listen very carefully, because I can hear you slightly, but I can't hear you fully. So I'm going to listen very carefully. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the app. Okay, where the name came from, what inspired the name, and what were you trying to do with this app? What gap did you see? And you're like, you know what, maybe this is the direction to go.
Look, I think that the biggest challenge we have, obviously, in South Africa or the continent, is access to education, right? And I'm always trying to break down the barriers of access to education. So the name Quaha actually comes from the animal, the quaha, that was extinct. It was half zebra, half horse, if you want to call it that, but was a subspecies. So I decided to play on that, because obviously we represent more than one thing, right? As a society. So that's where the name came from. And Quaha really is a skills development course app that allows anyone with a decent smartphone to go and learn or acquire knowledge or skills. Because obviously we know the cost of education is super crazy for most people. And just to be able to provide that access, and I think that's what Quaha is about, is that as long as you got a smartphone, you can upskill yourself. So we have courses in all types of courses, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's how to start your own spaza shop, whether it's how to start your own quota business, tourism management. So we've got quite a number of courses that cater to people from all walks of life.
Okay. How does it work? Can we download it on Google, on Apple, on like where can we download it? How does it work? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. So as long as you have a decent smartphone, you can go on to whether it's Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Then you can go and download it. And then all you have to do is just sign up. And then you get 400 free coins. So we've made it very gamified, right? So you can use these coins to unlock free modules as you
Mm.
go. So think of a game. Think about when you were playing Super Mario, right? The more coins you got, the more lives you received. So that's what Quaha is about. It's about making, yes, your formal learning a lot more fun, but also making it accessible. So you can go to any Play Store, and you can just download it and start learning immediately at no cost whatsoever. And it's very, very
Awesome
data,
stuff.
and it's also very data efficient as well, right? So I know data is the biggest challenge that people have. So it was designed to make it accessible and affordable for anyone.
I love that. I love that. Tell me something, Savior. Also, the name Savior, is that your actual name? Is that your actual name, or is that like a nickname that you got within? What's your story there?
No, that is really my name. I just rose on Monday. But no, like that's no, it's legit. That's my name. That's my name.
So,
I was
so my
named
producer
after
and
my dad.
I, just before you came onto the show, we're on the phone with you, and we're like, "Ooh, Savior's voice is so nice on the phone," and we made a little joke. We're like, "Oh, you better save me, Savior." Listen, Xavier,
Yes.
were you someone that read a lot during high school or primary? Were books something that you were interested in? Because I want to understand, your thinking into how you kind of created Quaha.
Right. So yes, I mean, growing up, I did read quite a number of books. I wasn't the biggest academic, but I was very, very curious about life. And yes, I read a lot of books. I read The Alchemist. I used to buy the Entrepreneur magazine that used to come out at Edgar's. And I used to buy that magazine quite a bit. So I'd always try to find out what's happening in the world of entrepreneurship. And yeah, I read a lot of great books along my journey. What other books did I read? I read Capitalist. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word, but Capitalist Nigger. I
Mm.
read the what other books did I read?
Look,
Um,
I mean, we've
yeah,
got a lot
I
of
did. I read quite a lot of books along my journey, but it wasn't only about reading books as well, right? I experienced a
Mm,
lot throughout my journey, whether it's being fortunate to travel to Zambia where my dad lived and engaging with people from that part of the world and understanding how people in that part of the world operate, whether it's being in Mozambique and sort of, yes, might have a language barrier, but going out there and truly understanding what the people of Mozambique are like. And I think it kind of came full circle
mm,
with regards to the development of Quaha, because, I ended up creating something that caters to people from those walks of life. And if you look at Quaha as so far, I mean, it's available. I mean, we have people from all walks of life who have downloaded, whether it's people in China, the USA, Vietnam, Botswana, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. So we've got people from all walks of life who are actually benefiting and
mm.
learning off of the Quaha app, which is pretty exciting because we've been able to touch people beyond, the boundaries of being in South Africa.
Mm. Now, there are so many apps that are out here helping us. I know that a lot of people say like an app like ChatGPT is making the world a lot dumber, because we're lazy now. And what do you have to say about apps kind of helping us? I mean, your app particularly is trying to make us smarter and not dumber. But what do you have to say with people that say, yeah, we agree, yeah, there's cool apps or whatever, but they actually making us dumber?
Look, I don't think they're making things dumber. Sometimes I wish, like when I was in high school, or I wish I had access to platforms like a ChatGPT or a DeepSeek,
Mm,
right? Because then that would help me sort of structure a lot of my paragraphs and a lot of my projects a lot more better, right? And I
mm,
think platforms like that do actually help you, and they make things go faster. And they do. I think the structuring aspect is so key, because a lot of people have sort of lost touch with, the structural aspects, and we don't really get taught this much in high school. Well, in my day, I don't know what it's like now. So I don't necessarily think it's making people dumb. I think it's making life a lot easier, and it
mm,
also depends on how you're utilizing those platforms. Are you utilizing those platforms to sort of give you all the answers, or are you trying
mm,
to dig deeper and actually utilize the information to create a better product or service, or you know and then I think that's
mm.
what Quaha is about, right? It's about how do we provide people with access to information and knowledge, as well as with the ability to, I would say, a better skill yourself, right? I mean, yes, we were taught about entrepreneurship, but we don't really have much entrepreneurial content out there,
Mm,
right? If a person, whether a person is in, let's say, Alexandria, and they want to learn how to start farming, where do they go to acquire that knowledge? Because
mm,
we don't really have access to that information, right? So if you go into the Quaha app, we have courses on farming, and that's a good starting point where you can sort of start to teach yourself, oh, this is how I go about creating my own process in terms of the basics of farming. So I think technology is really helping a lot in terms of enhancing society.
100%. I made a joke last week, I think, and I was saying, if I knew in kindergarten that life would be like this, I would be saving, from that age. And I was just basically saying, when if we were taught while we were in high school, while we we're in primary, things like what the Quaha app can teach us, I think we would be in a better place, not just as South Africans, but I feel like as adults in general, because right now it's rough. It's so rough. So I just want to know from you, are you in partnership with, education departments? Is this something that you feel like we should all, as young kids, start from young and kind of grow with it, just to spark that sort of interest, in certain areas, or in certain entrepreneurship opportunities that are out there?
Yeah, look, right now I am in seek of partnerships, but the reality is that we live in a society where sometimes it's about who you know. And
Mm,
unfortunately, we don't sit and wait for things to happen. So we have to build. Otherwise, if we sit and wait for partnerships, the platforms are never going to be built, right? So
mm,
Quaha was built to provide access. They say if you build it, they will come, right?
sure.
So we're creating our own content, we're developing our own content, we're uploading our own content, because we can't sit and wait, right? I
Mm,
think we are in a state of emergency right now, is with regards to employment, education opportunities, and of course affordability, right? So how long are we going to sit and wait and have this conversation about, you know, government or anyone not delivering on the promise of access to education? Right? So we can actually close that gap ourselves. We don't have to wait
mm,
for partnerships, right? We can close the gap ourselves. I'll bet you if each and every person today went and downloaded the Quaha app, right, and shared it with their friends and family, we're actually aiming to empower 1 million graduates by the end of 2025. That is the goal, because we need
yeah.
more people to have access to education, and that's what Quaha is there to provide. Unfortunately, a lot of these institutions, they are limited on space, right? I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the year, there were thousands and hundreds and thousands of students who applied, they couldn't get in, they lost their money, right? And then these universities had to turn them back. So we have a
Mm,
no space limitation. And it's about time that we have a platform that speaks to all of us, that provides all of us
mm,
with it. We no longer living in a world full of excuses. We can't, the excuses is gone now. You have access to an education platform. You have it, it's there.
100%.
We don't want to hear, no, I couldn't afford what. Download Quaha. You can start learning today for free. And we give you 400 free coins. You can receive a certificate of completion and a digital skills badge as well to show that, that you've completed a skill or a course, So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I really do. There's someone on Facebook that's asking a question here. And the question is, how do you spell the name of your app? I think it would be
That's
useful.
beautiful.
How does it compare to ChatGPT and other IA apps?
Right. So it's Quaha. So it's Q for Quaha.
Okay. She says, yeah, you've answered her. You've answered her. Shout out to Unozia Dube. She's the
I
one
just
that
want
was
to,
inquiring
ask you,
and seems very interested in getting involved in the app. She's out on our Facebook pages. Now,
sorry,
um,
I just want to answer the
lastly,
question.
just before we let you go, I know that, I caught you, offhand, but you came and joined us anyway. Is there anything more that you feel like we should know before I let you go? And before you say anything as well, I just want to call on the Department of Education to take a look at this guy, take him seriously, because what he's doing is definitely a game changer. Okay, take it away.
I just want to quickly share a quick background, right? I used to work, one of the most greatest jobs I had ever worked, right? Traveling throughout Africa, training farmers, etc., etc. And I had one day decided, you know what, I need to make a difference. And I knew I couldn't make the difference within the job that I was working. I decided to retire at the young age of 35, right? I then took my provident fund or my retirement fund and I built the platform with no backing, with no excuse, right? And that's what Quaha is about. It's built for you guys. It's not built for me. Otherwise, I would be living and working in my nice and cushy job, but I decided to retire and put my money into this because I believe in the vision that Quaha has for the future of South Africa and for the future of this continent. And guys, there's no room. There's no more excuses anymore. We have access to a platform that is ours. We don't have to wait for any institution. We don't have to wait for anyone. Today, right now, all you have to do is go on to whichever Play Store that you're utilizing, download the Quaha app and make a difference. And if it's not for you, pass it on to someone who will need access to the information. It's not, we have to keep moving, right? It's our responsibility. No more waiting. Now is the time. Download the Quaha app today. Quaha. Thank you very much.
Love that. If people want to reach out to you, Saviour, where are you on socials? If they're interested, maybe to know more, maybe to help and things like that, where can they get a hold of you?
All right. So you can either send us an email at info at Quaha, Quaha.africa, or you can follow us on all social media platforms. That's Quaha. So Quaha So Quaha Africa. So Quaha Africa, right? I did it on purpose because I wanted it to be very purposeful about it being an African platform. So it's Quaha Africa. Find us on TikTok. We're very heavy on TikTok. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. Find us on all platforms. Twitter, yes, we're there, but not really. But really, TikTok and Instagram, you find us there.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Listen, Saviour, you saved me today. Literally, your mother was on the right track when she named you Saviour. She knew what she was doing because you saved me today. Thank you so much for taking the time out and having a conversation with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're an absolute gem, and I wish you the best of luck. And I really hope you come back one of these days and let us know, how it's going. And especially, if you gain support from the government, I want you to come back and let us know how that goes. All right.
Oh, thank you very much. And I truly appreciate it. And take care and have a good one.
Yeah, enjoy your day. Awesome stuff. 53 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock. The jump off is still where you're at on Keith Ngesi Radio. It is indeed radio according to you. I've been talking to Saviour, Mr. Save My Day, and he did the damn thing and did the right thing, explaining to us about Quaha. Remember you can get it, in fact, on Play Store, and download the app, man, and it can change your life. Remember to share it with a friend, tell another friend, and tell everybody. You might not know how your life might change with the app. All right, it's been great. It's been fantastic. We're going to go head over to some music. We are preparing for the news that's coming at 11. They'll obviously let you know what's happening in and around your world. Please do enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It is a Tuesday. This week is going to go by very fast. I know that Thursday is a public holiday as well. Are you going to work on Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
We work every day.
You work every day. There's no public holiday for you.
There's no such thing.
I love that.
Learning doesn't switch off.
Hey?
Learning doesn't switch off. Thank you. Bye.
I love you, Saviour. I think you're my new best friend. All right, cheers. Thank you so much. All right, cool. That's how we're going to end that one. Otherwise, we're going to head over to some